So, we are the team Anonymous Surgeons, and good morning everyone, our lecturers, and hello students. Well, I'm Alfred, and that's Darren, and our other members are Emil, Brandon, and Klaus. And our topic, as you can see from the picture there, is pretty obvious, is interior architecture. Well, interior architecture and interior design and interior decorations are pretty much the same, just a slight difference. Well, here's the example of why. Interior architectures, the remodeling existing building often deals with complex structural, environmental, and servicing problems. Interior design. Okay, sorry. Concerned with the creation of interior environments with that articulate identity and atmosphere throughout manipulation of spatial volume, placement of spatial object or furniture. Interior decoration. Well, decorating inside place and rooms to impart characters and atmosphere into a room. Roles of an architecture. The design builds interiors for safety, functionality, and aesthetics, understanding durabilities and strengths of the building, structure, and the materials. Be skilled in using lights, colors, and texture in a space. Draw plans created or refinish placed in private homes or in commercial buildings. Design with their clients' taste, like what's their design they want. Beware the federal, state, of local building regulations, so their design are up to the code. And interior architectures are part of the building and remodeling process from the beginning to the end. They begin their job by meeting clients to discuss the expectation of the projects. At this point, the interior architect will listen to the wants and needs of his or her client and will give suggestions to his or her client. The responsibilities of an architect: meet clients' needs, ideas, and budgets. Okay, so basically the budget. Usually the client will have a specific budget that they want a fixed price, so they won't exceed it, so they don't have to pay more. And the needs, like sometimes they have a specific material that they want, and they want to use that, and they have a specific idea that they want to be in that place. Selection of color schemes, texture, fabric, fitting, and furnitures. Map out the space to determine furniture location and overall room designs. Ensure that the work is completed on time and within budget. Create illusional and create illustration and renderings. Establish competence and standards. Responsibility of an interior architect at different stage of construction. Well, there are pre-programming phase, schematic design phase, design development phase, contract documents. I go through one by one. Data will gather and analyze to determine requirements to meet, culminating in design concept that express the proposed character of space. Drawing and other documents are prepared to display design concept and solution. Drawing and other documents refine and execute to scale with greater details and client approval. Requirement and construction and finishing are documented for client writing approval. During construction, advise whether the work confronts with the construction and drawings and specification. Check for any defaults, errors, and to ensure they are correct. Contract administration phase. Execute of design plans including oversight of work performed by tradespeople to see that there are consist of any design with the design concept. After construction, post completion, meet with all interest parties, client, employees, general contractor, and architects. Make follow-up phone calls to the client asking how things are going and whether they need any additional service or requirements. I will pass this time to Darren.
Okay, next. Drawings produced by interior architects. So before I go to the actual drawings, I'm going to start with a quote by Arne Jacobsen, who is an architect and also a designer. Drawing is a tool and language, a tool because it serves to analyze and understand, and a language insofar as it expresses and procures to translate those formless sensations that float in the interior, retaining the impressions produced in the act of observing. Now, following on that idea, I'd like to go to my first drawing, which is the mood or concept board. So the mood, when it comes to design concepts, when you speak to someone about the design concept, I'm pretty sure that when you talk to someone, you might have something in your mind and you want to convey to someone, and when you describe it to them, you might think you're explaining to them as it is in your head, but they could be thinking of something totally different. That's why you need graphics, so that you can be on the same page and you can have this same direction you're moving in. So the mood board conveys the overall feel of the project, putting together images and objects which inspire, target desires, and depict creativity and innovation. It is a method of creating a visual conversation with the client and other members of the design team. It is a guide tool to show the clients for their approval, before proceeding further into the design process, and it helps designers to keep all of the ideas together and integrated. Because when in the design process, the interior architects may get sidetracked and they might want to add extra things. The mood board is the one that keeps them grounded, keeps them anchored, and it keeps them to the core value and the core of the design that they produce. So next is just a few images of examples of mood boards. I'd like to focus on this one specifically. So the mood board will contain various textures. For example, in the corner you may see these are carpet samples, you can feel them. There's also color samples in the other top corner. And also, I'm not sure if you can see it, but around the middle on the side there, you can see there are keywords that would explain the general mood, the general feeling of the space that the interior architect is trying to convey. Next are sketches. Sketches are fast, immediate, and require only a pen and paper. And the functions are that they are used as a way of observing and recording, and they are a way of thinking out loud. Sketches are when you draw something out in order to understand or explain something, either to yourself or others. It involves non-formal elements such as lines of sight, measurements, incorporating fragments of plan, section, perspective, all on the same page. Sketches are an immediate and intuitive form of drawing. They are a fast and fluid way of exteriorizing thoughts, which means you want to convey your thoughts to your client and the other members of the design team. Because of the ease and speed of sketching, they are often done in a series, and it is possible to literally see the thought process as it develops. So here are a few examples of the design sketches, the preliminary sketches. This is an interior design project. The picture on the far left, you can see, is the actual picture of the site. And then the interior architect would have created various sketches to convey his idea, because the client wanted a staircase, a spiral staircase. So as you can see on this right side, it is the interior designer's sketchbook, where the interior designer just makes rough sketches so that they can show the client the general idea of what the stairs would look like. And then the picture in the middle is the final stairs. So following on this idea, the design sketches, the interior architect does not always deal with a new building. Like, it's not always from the proposed building, because sometimes the interior architect will work with pre-existing buildings to remodel it, to redesign it. Next are the survey drawings. What happened here? Well, survey drawings, they're basically just sketches that the interior architect does on the site to see the features of the site, and it records all the information that might be useful. They're often quick and rough. They're just rough sketches with notes about the site that they want to, like, important features. And sometimes they refer to original plans and construction drawings of the building so that they can see changes that may have occurred from the initial building of the construction of the building and the current state of the building, and they will make note of the changes that have happened. This is an example of survey drawings. You can see they have various types of drawings, such as the section of the building itself, and then there's the plan. So it's just all rough sketches so that they can get a general feel of the area, so that they can create ideas to redesign the space. Although it is not created by it is not produced by the interior architect, they will refer to construction drawings that are produced by architects. And they also will refer to construction drawings such as this elevation drawing here, so that, like, this is an exterior elevation illustration. So an interior architect might want to observe the outside facade of the building so that they can create harmony between the interior and the exterior of the building. Next are diagrams. They focus on specific attributes, so they're just general concept diagrams that will give an idea of the flow of space in buildings. First is the bubble diagram, as it is commonly known. It indicates functional and spatial relations, identifies major spaces, areas, and other important features, but they're not drawn to scale. After the bubble diagrams are drawn, they're converted to schematic diagrams, which have more shape, and the important features are delineated, and the scale of shape and shape of the spaces becomes more evident. Most of the time, several schemes are created so that there's a variety to show the client, so the client can choose which arrangement they want. Next is the preliminary plan. This is a gradual process of the image being more refined and looking more like a construction drawing. It adds internal and architectural details, and walls, windows, and built-in items are shown. And furniture might be indicated in some cases. And finally, this is the final plan. It is a fully scaled drawing depicting space and the usage of the space. And then furniture is shown to indicate how the space is shown, and textures are often drawn to show the surface of the materials. So most of the drawings that have been mentioned so far are two-dimensional. Moving on to three-dimensional, but although this is still two-dimensional, it is the orthographic projection. It is one of the most important tools available to an interior architect. Depending on the picture plane, there will be different types of orthographic projections, such as plan, elevation, and section. And from these orthographic drawings, if they are drawn to scale, they can be able to be referred to create the actual 3D design of the building. So this is an example of orthographic drawings, which contains the section, the plan, and the elevation of the building. A brief explanation of the plan, section, and elevation. A plan is a horizontal measured cut through the structure of the space or object. There's an example there. A section is a vertical measured cut through a structure, space, or object, and it is generally cut through the center of the space, but it can be cut at any point along the plan to show the distinct features of the interior of the building. And finally, the elevation is a frontal measured drawing that documents the front facade of the building. It can be external elevation, or for interior spaces, it's called interior elevation. Also, 3D drawings are axonometric, also known as paraline. It is constructed by placing the plan at 45 degrees to the paper edge. Isometric is similar, but it is placed on 30 degrees. And axonometric are more to construction for the use in the construction process, because it is like a three-dimensional image, but you can also base your measurements from the axonometric and isometric drawings, because the lines are parallel and you can see the measurements on the axonometric and isometric drawings, as you can see in these examples. Another form of 3D drawing is perspective drawings.
Where's the drawing?
Next, perspective drawings. The perspective drawings create it is more for the client so that they can envision the space. It has more depth. The client can feel from the color, maybe it can be colored, like the rendered image in the top left corner there. The perspective drawings help create, like I said, create a sense of depth and have the client feel the sense of the area. And the final one is a presentation board, in which all of the mentioned drawings are integrated together, such as the plan, and there's also perspective drawings. And then there's also the textures used in the mood board from the beginning. It is over here we have like carpet samples, curtain samples, maybe paint swatches, like the colors that are going to be used. And this is the final presentation board is shown to the client to make the final adjustments before the actual project is carried out. And this is just a brief summary of everything we've talked about today. Interior architecture, design, or decoration, they're all the same thing, but they deal with it on a different scale. The interior architect must be a creative individual with knowledge about colors and textures, but also must have sound knowledge of architectural and structural concepts. The interior architect may deal with a proposed building or may be redesigning an existing structure. And finally, the interior architect produces various two-dimensional and three-dimensional images to convey ideas and may also act as construction reference. However, they may also refer to existing drawings when working with pre-existing buildings. Thank you.